First contact with fear. The Galactic Conclave's emergency beacon pulsed through space, its urgent red glow reflecting off the crystalline architecture of the Hall of Harmony. High Ambassador Vila's translucent wings trembled as she watched the assembled representatives of the unified worlds filter into the chamber. In her 300 cycles of service, she had never seen such fear in their luminescent eyes. The massive holographic display at the center of the hall showed the same devastating footage on repeat. Colonies reduced to ash, defensive platforms torn apart like paper, and the haunting silence of entire settlements gone dark. The unknown enemy had struck 17 worlds in just 30 days, each attack more brutal than the last. The Ravagers, as our survivors call them, possess technology we've never encountered, Vila announced, her melodic voice carrying across the hushed chamber. Our peaceful Federation has no defense against their level of aggression. She paused, mandibles clicking nervously. We need help. Senior Council Member Zixtol rose from his hoverpod, his bioluminescent patterns flashing with anxiety. High Ambassador, you cannot possibly be suggesting what I fear you are. I am, Vila confirmed, bringing up a new hologram. It showed a blue-green world wrapped in swirling white clouds, orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. We need the humans. The chamber erupted in frightened whispers. The humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, discovered just 5 years ago. While they had been peaceful enough in diplomatic interactions, their very nature terrified most species in the Conclave. They came from what the Federation classified as a death world, a planet so hostile that it should have been impossible for intelligent life to evolve there. They are monsters, shouted Representative Klee of the Photosynthetic Collective, their leaf-like appendages rustling with agitation. Their world has liquid water that falls from the sky. They breathe caustic oxygen. Their bones are reinforced with calcium deposits like living rocks. And they survive it all, Vila countered firmly. Not just survive, they thrive. While we evolved in carefully balanced environments, they emerged from a world that tried to kill them every day. They learned to adapt, to fight back, to overcome impossible odds. She gestured to the footage of destruction, just like these Ravagers are doing to us now. The chamber fell silent as understanding dawned. They had always feared humanity's potential for violence, their incredible physical resilience, and their aggressive problem-solving nature. But now, facing an enemy that showed those same traits, perhaps those frightening characteristics were exactly what they needed. Zixtol's bioluminescence dimmed thoughtfully. How do we even know they would help us? We've kept them at arm's length since first contact, treating them like barely contained primitives. Vila activated another hologram, this one showing historical footage from Earth. It displayed humans rushing into burning buildings to save strangers, diving into treacherous waters to rescue others, and standing up to protect the weak against the strong. Because that's what humans do, she said softly. Yes, they're physically powerful and capable of violence, but they use that strength to protect. Their history is full of examples of the strong defending the weak, even at great personal cost. They call it being heroes. The emergency beacon continued its ominous pulse as the conclave debated. Finally, after hours of discussion, they reached a consensus. With trembling hands, Vila activated the long-range communication array, establishing a link to the human embassy on Earth. The hologram shifted, and suddenly a human female appeared before them. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood straight-backed and alert despite the late hour on Earth, her dark eyes quickly taking in the assembled alien representatives and their obvious distress. High Ambassador Vila, Sarah greeted formally. This is an unexpected honor. How can Earth help the conclave? Vila took a deep breath, her wings spreading slightly in a gesture of supplication. Ambassador Chen, we face a crisis unlike any in our history. Our peaceful worlds are under attack by an enemy we cannot hope to defeat alone. She paused, then continued with quiet dignity. We need the help of humanity. We need your strength, your courage, and yes, even your capacity for violence. Sarah's expression remained professional, but there was a slight softening around her eyes. "You're asking us to fight for you, after years of being treated as dangerous primitives to be contained." "Yes," Vila admitted, "because we were wrong. What we saw as primitive brutality, we now recognize as hard-won strength. What we feared as violent tendencies, we now hope can be a shield for those who cannot fight for themselves." The human ambassador was silent for a long moment, studying the destruction displayed on the holograms. Finally, she spoke. "Among humans, there's an old saying: the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing." She straightened, her posture shifting subtly from diplomatic to military. "Send us everything you have on these attacks. I'll take this directly to the Security Council. You'll have our answer within the hour." As the transmission ended, Vila turned to face the assembled representatives. "And now we wait, and hope that the very qualities we feared in humanity will prove to be our salvation." The hour that followed was the longest in Conclave history. When the communication array activated again, it wasn't just Ambassador Chen who appeared. She stood flanked by military officers and civilian leaders, their expressions grave but determined. "Hi, Ambassador," Sarah announced formally. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I am authorized to tell you this. We accept your request for aid. We will not stand idle while innocent worlds burn. Humanity stands ready to help." Relief swept through the chamber, even as some representatives trembled at the sight of uniformed human military personnel. They had just invited the Deathworlders, creatures who had evolved on a planet that would kill most species in minutes, to unleash their full potential. "There is one condition," Sarah continued, her voice firm. "We won't just be your mercenaries. If we do this, we do it as full allies, equal partners. It's time for the Conclave to stop fearing humanity's strength and start working with it." Vila looked around the chamber, seeing the mix of fear and hope on alien faces. They were about to change everything about their peaceful federation. But as another emergency beacon lit up, another world under attack, she knew they had no choice. "Agreed," she said clearly. "Welcome to the Galactic Conclave, humanity. Not as primitives to be feared, but as allies to be valued." As the transmission ended, Vila looked out at the assembled representatives. "We have just changed the course of galactic history," she announced. "May the stars help us all adjust to what comes next." And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the Ravagers continued their campaign of destruction, unaware that they had just awakened something far more dangerous than themselves: humanity's protective instincts. The human response. Commander Elena Santos stood at the viewport of the UES Hyperion, watching Earth grow smaller in the distance. The massive ship, humanity's newest deep space vessel, had been rushed into service for this mission. Behind her, the command center buzzed with activity as her crew prepared for humanity's first major interstellar military operation. "Final system checks complete," reported Lieutenant James Chen, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "All departments report ready for deep space deployment." Elena nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the starlight. The Hyperion carried not just military personnel, but a carefully selected team of scientists, engineers, and diplomatic specialists. This wasn't just about fighting. It was about showing the galaxy what humanity could really do. "Commander," called Dr. Maya Podol from her research station, "you should see these readings from the attacked colonies." The scientist's face was grim as she brought up the data on the main display. "The Ravagers aren't just destroying infrastructure. They're systematically dismantling entire ecosystems." Elena moved closer to study the information. The conclave species had evolved in carefully balanced environments, their worlds more like carefully tended gardens than Earth's wild biosphere. The Ravagers weren't just attacking civilians, they were destroying the very conditions these species needed to survive. "They're turning peaceful worlds into death worlds," she murmured, understanding dawning. "No wonder the conclave species can't adapt fast enough." The ship's AI highlighted specific portions of the data. Analysis suggests the Ravagers are transforming conquered territories to match their own environmental preferences. Atmospheric modification, gravitational adjustments, introduction of toxic elements, all similar to conditions found on extreme worlds. Like Earth, James added quietly. Elena straightened, a plan forming in her mind. Get me a link to the Conclave Emergency Council. It's time they understood exactly why they were right to call us. Minutes later, the familiar ethereal form of High Ambassador Vila appeared on the main screen, along with several other Conclave representatives. Their delicate features showed a mix of hope and apprehension at seeing the human warship. Honorable representatives, Elena began, we've analyzed the data from the attacked worlds. The Ravagers aren't just raiders. They're terraformers. They're turning your worlds into environments that would kill your people. Vila's wings drooped in despair. Then we truly are doomed. Even if we reclaim our worlds, they will be poisoned beyond recovery. A slight smile crossed Elena's face. No, Ambassador. This is exactly why you need us. Humans don't just survive in hostile environments. We learn to thrive in them. Dr. Patel, show them Project Genesis. Maya stepped forward, bringing up new holographic displays. What you see as poison, we see as a challenge. We've been developing environmental restoration technology for centuries, healing the damage we once did to Earth. These same principles can be adapted to restore your worlds. The display showed simulations of human environmental technology at work, nanobots cleaning toxic soil, engineered bacteria restoring atmospheric balance, gravity manipulation fields protecting delicate ecosystems. The Conclave representatives watched in amazement as dead worlds came back to life in the projections. Impossible, breathed one of the alien scientists. The energy requirements alone are well within our capabilities, Maya assured them. Earth's history forced us to become experts at environmental engineering. What you see as devastating weapon, we see as a problem to be solved. Elena took over again. But first, we need to stop the Ravagers. And thanks to your data, we now know something crucial. They think like we do. They're used to fighting against their environment, adapting to overcome challenges, just like humans. And this helps us how? Asked a nervous-looking Conclave military advisor. Because, Elena said with quiet confidence, it means we know how they think. We know their strengths because they're our strengths. And more importantly, we know the weaknesses of that mindset. She brought up tactical displays, showing the patterns of Ravager attacks. They're aggressive, adaptable, and used to overwhelming force. But they've never faced an enemy like themselves. They don't expect resistance that matches their intensity. That's our advantage. The Hyperion's tactical officer, Sarah Martins, stepped forward. We've analyzed their attack patterns. They're efficient, but predictable. They expect their targets to break and run. They've never faced an enemy that stands their ground and fights back. And you believe you can defeat them? Vila asked, hope creeping into her voice. Elena's expression hardened with determination. We're not just going to defeat them, Ambassador. We're going to show them. And you, what humanity really stands for. We don't use our strength just to survive. We use it to protect, to build, to make things better. She gestured to her diverse crew, soldiers, scientists, engineers, and diplomats working together. This is humanity's true strength, not our ability to survive in hostile conditions, but our drive to improve them. Not our capacity for violence, but our choice to use our power to defend others. The Hyperion's engines hummed as they prepared for their first faster-than-light jump. Elena turned back to the screen. We're tracking the Ravager fleet. They're attacking the Lumina colony in the Vega sector. We'll meet them there. The Lumina colony. Vila's wings fluttered in distress. That's one of our most vulnerable settlements. Most of the inhabitants are photosynthetic. They'll die within hours if their environmental systems are damaged. Then we'll just have to get there first, Elena replied firmly. Hyperion out. As the transmission ended, Elena looked at her crew. Humans from different nations, cultures, and backgrounds, all united in purpose. They had spent centuries overcoming their differences on Earth, learning to work together despite their aggressive instincts. Now they would show the galaxy what that hard-won wisdom was worth. All hands, she announced shipwide. Prepare for FTL jump. We're about to show the galaxy why you should never underestimate humans, especially when we're protecting something. The Hyperion vanished into faster-than-light travel, carrying humanity's response to the stars. They weren't just going to fight the Ravagers. They were going to prove that being strong didn't mean you had to be cruel, that being dangerous didn't mean you had to destroy. They were going to show the galaxy what Deathworlders could really do when they chose to protect life instead of take it. Operation Stormbreaker. The Lumina colony hung in space like a delicate soap bubble, its transparent dome sheltering millions of photosynthetic beings beneath sheets of carefully filtered starlight. As the Hyperion dropped out of FTL, Elena could already see the Ravager ships approaching. 5 massive vessels bristling with weapons, their hulls scared and battle-worn. Ravager ships will be in weapons range of the colony in 15 minutes, Araya reported calmly. Their environmental disruption weapons are already powering up. Elena's voice carried across the bridge with quiet authority. Deploy the Guardian drones. Dr. Patel, begin atmospheric shielding procedures. Lieutenant Chen, prepare for combat maneuvers. She paused, then added, and open a channel to the Ravager fleet. The main screen crackled to life, showing a dimly lit bridge. The Ravager commander was humanoid but heavily augmented, with cybernetic implants covering much of their gray-skinned face. Their eyes widened slightly at seeing the human. This is Commander Elena Santos of the Earth ship Hyperion, she announced firmly. The Lumina colony is under our protection. Withdraw immediately. The Ravager commander's laugh was harsh and metallic. Earth, the death world. Why do you protect these weaklings? They would die on your world in minutes. Exactly, Elena replied, her voice hard. They're not built for violence and survival like we are. That's why they need protection from those who are. Her eyes narrowed. Protection we're more than capable of providing. You cannot stop us, the Ravager sneered. We are reshape these worlds to suit the strong. The weak will perish as nature intends. Natural selection is overrated, Dr. Patel called from her station, not looking up from her work deploying the atmospheric shields. We evolved past it. Try to keep up. The transmission cut off as the Ravager ships launched their first attack. Energy beams designed to disrupt atmospheric containment lashed out toward the colony. But they met something unexpected, a web of shimmering energy fields deployed from the Guardian drones. Atmospheric shields holding, Maya reported with satisfaction. Their environmental weapons can't penetrate Earth's containment technology. Turns out designing for Earth's extreme weather made our shields rather robust. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Let's show them what else Earth technology can do. Lieutenant Martinez, you have weapons clearance. The Hyperion's response was devastating in its precision. Instead of trying to match the Ravager's brute force, they targeted specific systems with surgical accuracy. Engines, weapons, and environmental controls were disabled with minimal collateral damage. They're adapting their shields, James reported as 2 Ravager ships broke off to attack the Hyperion directly, just like we would. Of course they are, Elena replied calmly. They're survivors, like us. But there's something they don't understand about Earth's evolution. Araya, execute maneuver pattern Delta. The Hyperion moved with impossible grace for a ship its size, using maneuvers developed for navigating Earth's most violent storms. The Ravagers' attacks met empty space as the human ship danced between their firing solutions. Their ships are designed for overwhelming force, Sarah observed from tactical. They never learned finesse because they never needed it. Like a predator that's never faced real competition. Inside the colony, the photosynthetic inhabitants watched in awe as their protective dome held firm. Many had feared the humans almost as much as the Ravagers, but now they saw something remarkable. incredible power used with precision and restraint. The battle reached its turning point when Alina ordered a targeted electromagnetic pulse, custom designed to affect the Ravagers' cybernetic systems without harming their organic components. As their augmentations flickered, their coordination faltered. Interesting, Maya mused, studying the readings. Their cybernetics aren't just for enhancement, they're dependency. They've modified themselves so much they've lost their original adaptability. That's the difference between evolution and engineering, Alina replied. They tried to force their way past their limits. We learned to work with ours. She opened a channel to the struggling Ravager fleet. Last chance to withdraw. We can disable your ships completely, but I'd rather not risk your life support systems. The Ravager commander's image appeared again, their cybernetic implants sparking. How? We came from a world as harsh as Earth. We should be equals. You came from a harsh world. Alina agreed, but you learned the wrong lessons from it. You thought survival meant destroying anything weaker than you. We learned that real strength comes from protecting others. She gestured to her crew. Look around this bridge. Scientists working alongside soldiers, engineers and tacticians coordinating their efforts. We survived Earth not by becoming the strongest individually, but by learning to work together. By turning our aggressive instincts into protective ones. The Ravager ships hung motionless in space, their weapons disabled, their crews struggling with failing cybernetics. Alina's voice softened slightly. We can help you too. Earth's medical technology can treat your cybernetic dependency. You can learn what we learned, that being strong doesn't mean you have to be cruel. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, the Ravager ships began powering down their remaining weapons. On the main screen, the commander's organic eye showed something that might have been hope. Perhaps we have more to learn from Earth than we thought. As the Hyperion's crews secured the Ravager ships and began treating their crews, Alina received a transmission from the Lumina colony. The leader of the photosynthetic beings glowed with gratitude. We always feared Earth's strength, they admitted. We never understood that such power could be used so gently. Alina watched as human medical teams helped injured Ravagers while engineers repaired the colony's damaged systems. That's the real lesson Earth taught us, she replied. True strength isn't about how much damage you can do. It's about how much you can protect. The stars wheeled slowly overhead as humans worked to heal the damage of battle, proving that being from a death world didn't mean bringing death. Sometimes it meant being uniquely qualified to protect life, in all its forms. The hidden truth. Dr. Maya Patel frowned at her holographic displays aboard the Hyperion, analyzing data from the captured Ravager vessels. 3 days had passed since the battle at Lumina Colony, and something wasn't adding up. The Ravagers' biological readings showed signs of genetic manipulation far beyond mere adaptation to a harsh environment. Commander, she called, I need you to see this. Alina moved from her command station to Maya's research console, noting the concern in the scientist's voice. What have you found? Look at these genetic markers. Maya pointed to complex molecular structures floating in the hologram. The Ravagers aren't natural evolution at all. Someone engineered them, and recently, within the last century. Alina's eyes narrowed. Are you saying someone created them specifically to attack the Conclave? Not exactly. Maya brought up more data streams. Their cybernetic implants aren't just enhancements, they're control systems. The Ravagers are weapons, but they're also victims. The revelation sent a chill through the bridge. Lieutenant Chen looked up from his station. So who's really behind this? Before anyone could answer, Araya's calm voice cut through the tension. Commander, I'm detecting a massive energy signature at the edge of the system. Configuration unknown, but it's larger than anything in our database. A vast shape emerged from the darkness of space, a station or ship so massive it dwarfed even the Hyperion. Its architecture was unlike anything human or conclave. All sharp angles and pulsing energy fields. Incoming transmission. Sarah reported from Tactical, her fingers hovering over the weapon's controls. The main screen lit up to show a being that made everyone on the bridge catch their breath. It appeared to be made of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell, its form shifting and flowing like liquid light. "Humans of Earth," it spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "You have interfered with our great experiment." Elena stepped forward, her posture rigid. "Experiment? You engineered the Ravagers to attack peaceful worlds. You turned thinking beings into weapons." "Of course," the entity replied, as if explaining something obvious. "The Conclave species are stagnant, evolutionary dead ends. We sought to force their advancement through environmental pressure, just as your harsh world created you." Understanding dawned on Maya's face. "You're trying to artificially recreate Earth's evolutionary conditions. You wanted to force the Conclave species to become more like humans." "Precisely." The entity's form pulsed with approval. "Your species fascinates us. You evolved such remarkable traits in such a short time. We merely sought to accelerate that process in others, by destroying their worlds." Elena's voice was sharp with anger. "By enslaving the Ravagers and forcing them to commit atrocities. A necessary catalyst," the entity dismissed. "Evolution requires pressure. The strong survive and adapt. The weak perish. This is the law of nature." Elena looked around her bridge, at humans from different backgrounds working together, at scientific knowledge being used to protect rather than destroy, at power tempered by compassion. "You don't understand evolution at all," she said firmly. "Earth didn't make us strong by killing the weak. It made us strong by teaching us to protect each other, to adapt not just physically, but socially and technologically." She gestured to Maya's station. "Look at your experiment. You had to enslave the Ravagers to make them act the way you wanted. Real evolution gave us something far more powerful, the choice to be better than our environment demanded." The entity's form flickered with what might have been confusion. "Choice? Irrelevant. Only results matter. Only strength." "Then let me show you humanity's strength," Elena replied. She nodded to Maya, who transmitted a signal to the modified Guardian drones they had deployed around the Lumina colony. The drones activated, but instead of weapons, they released waves of specialized electromagnetic pulses, the same technology they had used to free the Ravagers from their cybernetic control, but scaled up and refined. The entity's crystalline shell shimmered as the pulses hit it. What are you doing?" "Breaking your control over the Ravagers throughout this sector," Maya explained, her fingers flying over her controls. "The same way you tried to force others to evolve, we evolved past the need for force. We learned to free instead of enslave, to lift up instead of destroy." The massive ship's energy fields began to fluctuate as its control systems failed. Inside, thousands of Ravagers were awakening from their cybernetic slavery, their real personalities emerging for the first time in generations. "Impossible," the entity pulsed erratically. "Your species came from a world of violence and death. You should understand the necessity of cruel pressure." "We understand it better than you ever will," Elena countered. "We understood it well enough to choose something better. Earth taught us how to survive, yes, but we taught ourselves how to live." The entity's form began to destabilize as its control over its technology slipped away. "You cannot. This is not. Evolution demands. Evolution demands adaptation," Maya cut in. "And humanity's greatest adaptation was learning to change our environment instead of being ruled by it, to choose cooperation over conflict." Throughout the sector, Ravager ships were going dark as their crews were freed from control, the cybernetic systems that had enslaved them shutting down under the influence of human technology. The entity's massive vessel began to drift, its energy core flickering. "Commander," Araya reported, "I'm detecting multiple life signs aboard the entity's ship. The Ravagers are free, but they'll need immediate medical attention." Elena was already moving. "Launch rescue operations. Get our medical teams ready." She turned to the failing entity on the screen. "This is humanity's true strength. Not our ability to survive violence, but our choice to end it. Not our power to destroy, but our commitment to save. The entity's last transmission was weak, almost puzzled. We do not understand. No, Elena agreed as her crews mobilized to rescue both enslaved ravagers and the entity itself. You don't understand. But maybe now you'll learn what Earth really taught us, that the greatest evolution isn't becoming stronger than everyone else. It's becoming strong enough to protect everyone else. As rescue shuttles launched from the Hyperion, Elena watched her human crews rushing to save those who had been their enemies moments before. They had come from a death world, yes, but they had chosen to become something more than what that harsh cradle had intended for them. They had chosen to be protectors, not destroyers, and in that choice lay humanity's true evolutionary triumph. Rising together. The Great Hall of the Galactic Conclave had changed in the month since the entity's defeat. Where once only the most delicate and peaceful species had gathered, now the chamber held a remarkable diversity of life. Freed ravagers stood alongside photosynthetic beings, their cybernetic implants repurposed into medical support systems. Human engineers worked with conclave scientists, sharing knowledge and technology. Commander Elena Santos stood at the podium, looking out over this unprecedented gathering. The entity's massive ship, now transformed into a space station, hung visible through the hall's crystal walls, a reminder of how much had changed. The entity believed that evolution was solely about survival of the fittest. Elena began, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. It saw Earth's harsh conditions and assumed that violence and competition were the only paths to advancement. But it missed the most important lesson our world taught us. She gestured to Dr. Maya Patel, who activated a holographic display showing Earth's history, not just its natural disasters and predators, but its civilizations, its art, its moments of cooperation and sacrifice. Earth didn't just make us strong, Elena continued. It made us understand the value of working together. Every major advancement in human history came not from destroying competitors, but from combining our strengths. From choosing to be more than our environment demanded we be. The display shifted to show the current restoration efforts across the attacked colonies. Human environmental technology worked alongside conclave biological expertise. Freed ravagers, their generations of engineering knowledge no longer twisted to destruction, helped rebuild what they had been forced to destroy. Look at what we've accomplished in just 1 month, Maya added, stepping forward. The Ravagers' forced evolution gave them incredible adaptability. The conclave species developed amazing biological understanding through their peaceful cooperation, and humanity brought the strength and determination that Earth demanded of us. Apart, we were incomplete. Together, we're achieving things none of us could have managed alone. High Ambassador Vila rose from her seat, her wings catching the starlight. We feared humanity's strength, she admitted. We saw your powerful bodies, your aggressive instincts, your ability to survive conditions that would kill us instantly. We thought these things made you dangerous. We are dangerous, Elena agreed with a slight smile. But we learned to be dangerous in defense of others, not at their expense. That's the choice Earth's harshness taught us to make. From his place among the freed Ravagers, their former commander spoke up, his cybernetic implants now glowing with healthy blue light instead of harsh red. We were forced to be weapons, he said, but humans showed us we could choose to be protectors instead. They didn't just free us, they showed us a better way to be strong. The holographic display showed new images, a human teacher helping conclave children understand how to use their natural abilities more effectively. A Ravager engineer working with human scientists to turn environmental weaponry into terraforming tools. Conclave biologists helping humans develop better medical treatments. The entity thought evolution was about becoming stronger than everyone else, Maya explained. But Earth taught humanity a different lesson. Real advancement doesn't come from dominating your environment or others. It comes from learning to transform challenges into opportunities, from turning survival instincts into protective ones. Elena stepped forward again. Today, we're proposing something unprecedented. Not just an alliance, but a true union of our species. The entity wanted to force others to become like humanity. We're offering something better. A chance for all of us to become something new together. The display showed plans for joint colonies, shared research stations, combined defense forces. Places where the strength of humanity, the adaptability of the Ravagers, and the biological wisdom of the Conclave could create something greater than any one species could achieve alone. We come from a death world, Alina acknowledged. But that didn't just teach us how to survive. It taught us the value of every life, the importance of protecting those who need it, and the power of choosing to be more than our circumstances demand. She looked out over the gathered species, former enemies and frightened allies now working together. Earth's harshness could have made humanity cruel. The entity's control could have permanently twisted the Ravagers. Fear could have kept the Conclave isolated forever. But we all chose something different. The chamber was silent as her words sank in. Then, one by one, representatives began to stand. The motion started with the Conclave species, spread to the freed Ravagers, and soon even the entity itself, now contained in a smaller crystalline form and learning to exist without controlling others, rose in agreement. Together, Alina concluded, we can be more than evolution demanded. More than our pasts dictated, more than mere survivors. She smiled as she saw humans, Ravagers, and Conclave members already forming mixed groups, sharing ideas, building connections. We can be the shapers of a future where strength serves life, where differences make us stronger, and where even the children of a death world can help create something beautiful. As the gathered species began to formalize their new union, Alina watched the stars through the crystal walls. Earth had taught humanity how to survive against impossible odds. But humanity had taught itself something far more important, how to take that strength and use it to help others thrive. In the end, that was the greatest lesson any death world could teach. That true evolution wasn't about becoming the strongest, but about becoming strong enough to protect, to nurture, and to help others rise alongside you. The entity had tried to force evolution through conflict. But as the new alliance took shape, it was clear that real advancement came through choice, through cooperation, and through the simple but powerful decision to be protectors rather than destroyers. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, not their strength, but their choice of how to use it, not their ability to survive, but their determination to help others do the same. And in that choice lay the seeds of an evolution far greater than any death world could produce. The evolution of consciousness, compassion, and cooperation. The age of forced evolution was over. The age of chosen advancement had begun.